It's the weekly wrap up today at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Hope everybody's having a good week. You can see I'm in a different place than my office. I'm actually working from home today and had to bring a personal pet to the vet. So I know all of you understand that so well. So you'll probably hear some dogs and cats in the background, but not any different than if I'm doing a live post being at the sanctuary. So I apologize for that right now, but wanted to make sure I didn't miss a weekly wrap up because we have so much going on. And I always like to keep you guys as updated and be as transparent as possible. I know many of you have seen over the last few weeks the announcement of the Oregon West Coast Game Park rescue, where we got to reveal our witness protection cats. So we want to thank you for everybody who stepped up to help us support them during this legal case at our sanctuary, giving them the vet care they need, the proper nutrition, plenty of enrichment, and of course, a lot of that lush green space. So we're really hoping this case resolves in the next few weeks to months, and that we can announce that they are permanently our residents. But we know anything can happen in court cases, and over the years, we've held many cats during legal cases and know that we are temporary housing them for authorities until final disposition is determined. So, but know that while they're with us, they are getting all the TLC and the individualized care that every rescue at the sanctuary has. So it has been just awesome to have Lucifer, who we call Louie, the black jaguar at our sanctuary. We have not had a jaguar at our sanctuary since Diablo Guapo came, who we named Diablo Guapo because he came Diablo. You can see the trend here that a lot of these black jaguars are named very negative names, and we try to put a spin on them to support a real positive life that we want to give them. And so his personality, Louie's personality, is as far away from Diablo's Guapo's as it can be. They're both so uniquely special in their own way. Diablo was the most cool, calm, mellow jaguar we'd had, and he lived to a ripe old age. He sadly was a four-paw declawed when he came to us. Luckily, Louie is not four-paw declawed, and Louie is much more, I would say, calculated in what he does. He really thinks through every step. If he's going to come down, if he's going to go play, really when he investigates things. I know from looking at public video footage online with TripAdvisor and other visitors that were just posting at the game park, Louie was very high stressed, high anxiety, pacing a lot in a lot of the videos I saw. We're not seeing that behavior at the sanctuary, but we are seeing how sensitive he is to change and how he really likes to get used to new things. And so we can see a remnant of that behavior here. So that personality is different, but he's not showing those behaviors because we're giving him plenty of enrichment, space, time to acclimate, things like that. And so then Bentley, the leopard, is more like Diablo Guapo was. He is just a cool, calm, really relaxed, very playful, older leopard. He doesn't keep very busy. He likes to be very quiet, but until you give him enrichment, or also the caretakers will see him up on his skywalks all the time, but it's hard to get a photo because as soon as he sees people, he comes down to say hello. And then we have Lila, the Eurasian lynx that we introduced you to, that's with us as well. She's been very typical, true to a female Eurasian lynx. She's very hesitant of people she doesn't know. She's very cautious of things that are new, but we're very excited that we're building trust with her. So it's hard because we don't always know the backgrounds of these animals. We know where they were housed. We know the USDA reports. We know what we've seen the day of, but we don't know if she was bonded to one person, what her triggers are, if she did not like being on a play-to-play, and that's why she kind of has the personality she does. So they're all getting to know him different. And then Nasha the lioness reminds me so much of Shanti Diva. She is really charismatic. She really is strong-willed in what she believes in. She does not like tigers. She does not like a shared wall. So for a lion, that's usually a pride animal. Really curious what her background of how many 13 to 16 years was. That why she's solo. Usually lions are not solo, but we did see, based on a lot of the things you can see publicly online, that those lions were living solitary, which was interesting. Now, sanctuaries have solitary lions if we can't merge them. Also, we have been busy this week doing vaccines. So as you know, we do 3-year wellness exams, and that's on top of that's on top of the intake exams we do. And so we also do vaccinations to protect our cats. And so the staff, in the caregivers, are trained in giving vaccines. Our preferred way of giving a vaccine is getting the cat into the shift area or approached and lined up against the fence and doing a hand injection. But if that's not possible, then they will do the pulse syringe. But it's also, vaccines are a great and safe way to deliver and learn immobilization. So as you guys know, when we're on rescues or if a cat is sick in a big yard, we might have to use the CO2 pistol, which is a small little pistol, and it's kind of what you would consider a dart gun, but it's a little more evolved than the old traditional dart guns. So we will have them give their vaccines that way if the cat's not near the fence or things, and that gives the staff really good practice for when there is an emergency or a vet exam or a rescue that needs the dart gun. Without practice of the immobilization equipment, it's really hard to be good the day of, especially when you have a moving target. So we use our medical and proactive care kind of multi-layered in our training process as well. So the other thing was really, really exciting to see is that Cattail Creek, the new enclosure that you guys helped, that's 12 foot tall, roofed, and is 120 feet long, is almost complete. So that means the fence complete. So we do fence, we do roof, we do corner patches to make it safe, we do skirting to make it safe. And then we have to drill holes in all the poles because we have high groundwater that can come out. So there's a lot of detail work. But to see that all closed and ready to go, and this week they're planting trees and some bushes, and then we can start the furniture. We've had volunteers here several days working on the insulated building. The building comes to us kind of looking like a 12 by 20 shed, but it needs to be all completely insulated. The guillotine door needs to be cut. The kennel fronts need to be put in. Electric and heat need to be put in. So there's a lot going on, but just to see that get stages closer is so awesome. And then Kim and Carl and their healing habitats over the weekend, they took down some of the old platforms that you saw probably on the hippo enrichment with the fire hose hippo, and are making new platforms for Kim and Carl. Kim and Carl have been lovely to care for, but they're a lot. Like, I think because they look so majestic, I think of them as older adult lions, but they're showing us that they are young adult lions using all their space, tramping down all their foliage, even testing their guillotine doors. And so we had a team meeting to determine the best course moving forward. And sometimes those are multifaceted. So the first step is that we are similar to, if you guys remember, Aslan, Asha, and Shanti, when they were a pride, they had their building guillotines, and then they had a chute, and then they had a second guillotine door, which meant that there was 2 doors between a caretaker and those lions at any given time. We've had to do extra things with cougars as well. And so Kim and Carl have proven to be very, I wouldn't say they test in a negative way. They're very busy, much like Mango, but much larger, right? So we are going to be putting double guillotines on theirs because Carl likes to play with his guillotine. If he's ever separated for Kim, for any reason, even if it's for cleaning or eating, he gets a little anxious and starts working on things. So we're going to add an extra layer of security just for the safety. We always have redundancy in our safety protocol, but we also are looking at moving them to a larger habitat, maybe where Leo and Alyssa were. Leo's in that space now, but it is so big. And these young, Kim and Carl, this young couple, is showing that they could really use even bigger space than they're in. So that might be before winter. And then we're also reevaluating like where Leo's living, where Alyssa's living because of her back condition, and that it might be that Alyssa can never be where there's high perches. So we decide, are she going to stay in the temporary yard she's in and we take down all the perches? Or is there a better yard that is going to be situated for Alyssa long term? And so all of that right now, we are kind of looking at all the cat moves and things like that. We also want to give you some updates on mergers and moves. Like, remember, we introduced geriatric servals, lovely Phoenix and Nunda, with Ava and the Peppers, who are a compromised group because of metabolic bone disease due to that rescue and inbreeding. And that merger is going just lovely. It's really funny to see 6 servals in an enclosure. Early years, we would have 7 or 8 servals and caracals living together, and it did great. Over the years, the rescues have come in kind of sporadically, and the mergers haven't been conducive to the large groupings. So to see 6 live together, and they added different additional lockouts and different perches. They were in there upgrading perches and platforms for that entire group over the weekend, and yesterday was really nice to see. Some updates, as you saw, Dimitri, the tiger, had a root canal and then actually had 2 root canals and some extractions, and he's doing extremely well since his dental work. He's kind of back to his old self. Alyssa, the lilager, as you guys know, has an issue in her spine where it could either be a tumor or a piece of cartilage. Neither are surgically possible, so we're really looking at keeping the inflammation down. She's shown a lot of progress since that, I wouldn't call it an injury because this has been chronic, and it was just she probably stepped the wrong way, or if you've ever thrown out your back, kind of what happens that way. But she's gonna kind of stay at a plateau because that injury or that piece of bone fragment or that tumor, what we can do is if we move her again to a habitat that we think better serves her, we will sedate her and then we will radiograph that. And if it was a tumor, we're going to see that it got bigger. If it's that cartilage fragment, we're going to see that it's still there because she also had vertebrae that was very translucent. So we know she's got degenerative vertebrae. And so we might just have to put her in a place that better suits her. And as long as she has a cat neighbor, she tends to do fine. She has love in her heart for any neighbor, any new neighbor. So I'm not worried about who she's going to live next to, but we are looking at where she should move permanently and do that before winter. In addition, Kim had her exam and received her implant. They were on oral birth control when they were in Canada, and we are waiting because they are very rotund and well-fed lions to do any type of spay or vasectomy until the spring, but we wanted something more effective and wanted her off the oral birth control. That's usually a temporary fix to give her an implant, a birth control implant, so that there would definitely be no breeding going on. And that's great. We've also had to look at a different thing. So Kim and Carl, we've had Caesar and Logan. They're really big cats, and other cats that are large, but they are really big, and so we're looking at increasing the size of their guillotines taller and a few other cats so that it's easier for them to move her inside and out. But when we do that, we're bringing more cold air in the building, and in our winters, it's crazy, and we leave those doors open. On big cats, we haven't been able to put flaps or chains or anything that can be a wind block because they mess with it, they chew it, or it can get caught in that guillotine, which can be a safety risk. So we're looking at adding incremental heat to all the buildings. And if we do that to be able to accommodate the larger doors, we are definitely gonna include all of you guys to help us if you can. So stay tuned for that. Part of our Keep a Wild One program, Keep a Wild One Warm program coming for the winter. And then the opposite, beautiful Catio Town was built, and this was a summer where we had some extremely hot days. And so it got warmer in that building than it did in other animal buildings. And so we brought in some temporary air conditioner units that are small, but we're looking at a bigger solve that wouldn't be on all the time because that's not cost efficient and needed, but on those really extremely hot or humid days that we can keep that building at a much more comfortable temperature for our cats, especially our aging cats. Let's see. We have new interns starting next week again. We also hired one of our lead interns as a permanent staff member, and permanent caretaker. So we're so grateful for that. We love when our intern program can really not only create future wonderful caregivers for other sanctuaries, rescue groups, and even zoos, but to be a pipeline for our needs because they're already trained. They know the cats, they know the work we do, and they want to work with us full time. And of course, if we could hire many of our interns at once, we would. We've had so many great ones, but we have expanded our team that way. And the new interns start next week. And so not only do we have the new intern starting, we have the VIP event, which has almost, I think, like 65 attendees right now. And so trying to do orientation and get ready for the event. But it's going to be a really fun and busy week next week, but an exciting week. Many of you also saw Mango. I know you've been enjoying watching Mango kind of grow up, and I think it's something that maybe TWS has in our bloodstream or what we do, because whenever we get cubs in that need to be rescued and they're raised at the sanctuary, they are wild child, and it's what we want. We want them to be independent. We sure wish they had siblings, but when you rescue, it's hard to always get siblings, especially with the rescues. And of course, everybody's asked, is she going to have a playmate? We don't hope for any big cat needing rescue, especially a cub. But of course, if there is one and there is an option of putting them together and raising them together, that would definitely be where we're at. But just because we hear of a rescue cub doesn't always make it a good fit. Mango is not mother raised. Cubs that are mother raised, trying to merge them with non-mother raised can be a real challenge and safety issue. The age difference at this, just because one's 4 months and one's 10 months, that's still a huge difference in behavior and things. So it's not as easy as just saying the next rescue cub is going to be Mango's playmate. And then we also know there's different reasons for placement. So if there's a confiscation down south, they'll probably go to a southern sanctuary versus bringing up here, especially if it's an active case. So of course we want her to have companionship. It's just not as easy as that, especially when you're in the rescue business, and we never know what is the next species of cat, the next age of cat we're going to rescue. It's just all about what is the next cat in need. But Mango's been doing great. She's faster to develop in certain things than Dash the tiger was, and she's slower in other areas. But I think her slowness has nothing to do with her mentation. I think it has to do with her decision making, and she is very particular in what she loves and wants, and she's very hesitant to make that change. But she is loving her new yard in quarantine. And again, this is another temporary move, but she's graduated from her nursery, which we were using Catio Town as our nursery, to where Dash was when he was a little younger than her. And she has an indoor room, which is bigger than her Catio Town room, outdoor smaller holding yard, which you can see is on concrete and has some white border around it. And that's where she really gets fed and monitored, because she prefers to eat outside, and we want to be able to keep it clean because she is quite messy. And then she has her grass yard off of that. So most of the time she has access to all three areas. And then at night she goes into the smaller shift in bedroom just for her safety, because she's still a very small girl and can get herself in trouble. But she is ramped up and always playing and always showing off. And, like we said, she's going to be graduating to big cat toys little by little. you know, we see her chewing on stuffed animals and would never want her to have a blockage or anything that would be concerning. Blankets, she's starting to chew on blankets, you know, and if she consumes that, we can have some soft substrate blockage. So we're watching that, but this is all normal things. And at some point she's going to be really a big cat, not just growing into being a big cat, and need all the big cat amenities. And so after this, I would say my best guess is she'll be where she is for a month, and then she'll move down to the next bigger area. But the next bigger area might be like a bobcat or lynx yard that still has a roof, because Mango climbs when she doesn't get her way. And we just don't ever want an accident to occur for her safety. And then she'll graduate to a bigger cat area. So when will she be permanently next door to other big cats? There's going to be a few more steps in the process, and it just really depends upon her behavior and, you know, kind of what her next milestones are. So really appreciate all your guys' support. It was Make a Will month last month, so I know so many of you have already done your legacy planning, and many of you have included the Wildcat Sanctuary in your future planning, and we really, really appreciate that. If you go to Free Will, or you go to our website, Wildcat Sanctuary, under How to Help Legacy Planning, there is a lot of tools there of helping you build your own will. And don't think because you're young you shouldn't have a will. You know, it is really hard when I see people pass away that don't have anything in writing, and then that means your wishes aren't always followed, or that the people closest to you don't know your wishes. So with my mom passing this year, I was so grateful that she had everything planned out and spelled out. And that includes, you know, what you want for your pets and that hard-earned money you have worked your whole life for. Where do you want that going? Do you want that going to your children? Do you want it going to your pets? Do you want it going to family members or charities? And I know that when you put us in your will, that is the most personal and special gift you can give. And of course, we always hope. We don't see it to years into the future, but that really, really adds to the sustainability of our organization. And a trend we're seeing now, which I think is really, really special and cool, is it's called a living will. You know, so many people have money that they've saved up, and they don't get to see the impact it makes because it's not given until they pass away. And some people have the ability to know how much they're going to need for end-of-life expenses, but also what they would want, like a gift in honor of somebody, or if they want a legacy at the sanctuary. People have benches, they have names on things that they can give that money. They're calling it a living will now. They give that money while they're still alive so that they can see it come to fruition. And so that's a pretty cool idea, especially people that have planned. And we've gotten a few of those that said, I want to do it now. We've also had people on hospice that know they're close, but they want to do it now. And they want to see how that money is helping the animals, and see, you know, we've how it's going to help us long term. So there's so many ways to give, even if you can't give now. So I appreciate everybody who's in our Legacy Pride, and definitely visit wildcatsanctuary.org, or you can always call us at 320-245-6871 if you want more information of joining our Legacy Pride. Talking about Pride, I saw one question is somebody said, could Mango join another Pride? Eventually, yes, but in captivity, it's very different dynamics than in the wild. And so Kim and Carl see her as prey right now. So when she grows up, our goal is to merge her. If we haven't rescued another adolescent by then, our goal is to merge her into a Pride. And that would probably be easier because they are Pride groups, and a lot of the lions we have on property have lived with other cats to accept her. Unlike Dash, who is a solo tiger, tigers are solitary in the wild, but they do well companionship in captivity. Dash just has this boldness to him, and then he gets completely scared and runs away. So we still are looking at companionship for Dash. It was just a conversation yesterday, and everybody talked about, we would love to try with Indy. But Indy is a Spitfire, and we don't know what Dash's reaction would be. We think Indy might be too much, and then if Dash had to react, would he react appropriately, or would he completely revert to natural instincts and could hurt her? So those are the pros and cons of always wanting mergers and moves, and no two cats are the same. We look at it independently. We look at each cat that we would merge them with, how that would go, what those play dates look like, you know, how they live along a shared wall for a while, things like that. So stay tuned. Right now, Mango's just too small to go in with the adult cats, but definitely don't want her being a solitary lion like Nasha. Nasha, on the other hand, is completely proven to be solitary. So some people I know have asked, what about her and Leo? Nasha has a history. It's in writing. It's been documented. She's shown it to us that she has no interest in living near or on a shared wall with another big cat. So we're going to respect her. She's earned that right to pick how she wants to live, and we're going to honor that. So, well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a nice weekend. And those of you that are coming to the VIP event, I will see you next week. I hope I will be doing a weekly wrap up on Thursday, as long as everything's in a row for the interns and for the VIP event. There should be time to fit this in as well and give you any new updates. So thanks, everyone.